Hello and welcome to Dingoes Ate My Podcast. I'm Paul.
I'm Dave.
And I'm Justin.
This week we're talking about the episode of Buffy the Vampire Slayer, Reptile Boy. This episode originally aired October 13th, 1997, attracting 4.8 million viewers. In this episode, a girl jumps out of a second-floor window of a frat house and flees into a cemetery, where she is caught. Meanwhile, the Scooby Gang are happy with the apparent lack of activity on the Hellmouth while they watch a Bollywood movie.
Which is wildly surprising. Who would have known that that's one of the things they do on their downtime?
Giles presses Buffy to train harder, but she just wants to be a teenager. The next day at school, Cordelia introduces her to two college guys, one of whom invites Buffy to a party. She turns him down, claiming that she is involved with someone. Buffy goes on patrol at the cemetery and meets Angel, who smells blood on a bracelet on the ground. He says that their age difference is a problem. No shit, Sherlock.
Yeah.
And that she does not know what she wants in life. Buffy then runs off, upset.
You know, teenagers.
Buffy decides to go to the frat party with Cordelia, and she chooses not to tell Giles or Angel about her date.
Again, teenagers.
Later that night, Giles and Willow discover that the bracelet is from Kent Preparatory School, just outside Sunnydale, and where Buffy is partying. Angel appears and asks about Buffy. Willow tells the two men why Buffy lied to them. They then rush off to save Buffy and Cordelia.
Yeah.
At the party, Buffy tries to avoid drunken frat guys. Xander has sneaked in to protect Buffy, but other drunken party goers recognize him for a crasher and dress him up like a girl.
You know, frat boys.
And then kick him out.
Meanwhile, Buffy relents and decides to accept a drink. Drugged, she stumbles her way up to a bedroom where Cordelia is laying unconscious. When they wake up, they find themselves chained in a basement with a girl caught in the beginning as an offering for a reptile demon named Makita.
Oh dear.
Who the fraternity call themselves Delta Zeta Kappa's worship. Cordelia is chosen as the first victim, but Buffy distracts the demon and breaks out of her chains. Willow, Angel, and Giles head to the frat party and meet up with Xander. They enter the house and beat up the frat guys. Buffy kills the demon, the frat guys are arrested, and Giles promises to stop pushing Buffy so hard.
Yeah.
Just incessant nudging.
Yeah.
Afterwards, everyone gathers at the Bronze. Xander reads from a newspaper that the frat guys were given life sentences and that their families' businesses and others set up by the previous Delta Zeta Gammas have gone bankrupt due to the demon's death. Angel appears and asks to have coffee with Buffy sometime, but she plays it pretty cool.
Yeah.
Alrighty. So, Justin, what did you think of this episode?
I just have issues with it. It's basically pretty much a filler episode for the most part, and the monsters is very, very underwhelming.
It does feel like the kind of episode that could be condensed into a cold open. Like, you know that chunk before the opening, before the theme?
Yeah.
That's called a cold open. I don't know if you guys know that or not.
No, I kind of got the basic idea of that,
Okay.
but...
It feels like a lot of this could have just been, you could have just started with Buffy and Cordelia chained up, and then they get out of it, and then we have an actual episode.
Yeah, seemingly
Wow.
like that, yeah. It was not that impressive of an episode.
For the most part, I can kind of understand it, but I definitely see where you guys are coming from. Whole frat boy concern things and all the basic storyline is kind of played out for the most part, so yeah.
I mean, it had its moments. Buffy apparently decided to be stupid and have a drink at the party, and Xander apparently got dressed up like a girl for whatever reason, and...
Because they're drunk frat guys.
They're drunk
Yeah,
frat guys, and
exactly.
they think of him as a new pledge, and that's essentially a death sentence for
There were a
embarrassment.
few moments that were okay. It wasn't a great episode overall.
Oh man, that one moment, but we'll get to it.
So we start off with the Scoobies at home watching a Bollywood movie.
And again, I'm oddly surprised that that's what they
And
go ahead with.
I love how they're trying to figure out what's going on.
Yeah, well, Willow apparently sort of gets an idea of how everything sort of goes out. Kind of like, does she actually understand it, or is she just following along with the adventures?
Who knows? So Giles basically lays down the law and tells Buffy she has to start training harder. And he's like, you can sit there and pout, it won't get to me. It's not getting to me.
Yes, just like, aw, it's so cute, Giles, that you want to be Buffy's dad, but you're terrible at it, you're not going to win.
So Cordelia is meeting with the two frat guys outside of the school, and she's like, Oh, Buffy, she's not a friend. She's more like a sister.
Genius, Cordelia. Just about as genius as your fake laugh.
Her fake laugh is too perfect. Okay, so Willow and Xander are watching Buffy flirt with this frat guy.
Yeah.
And Willow's selling of every time Xander says something is hilarious. Because she's just like... idiot.
That's so true.
It's bloody great. So, Angel runs into Buffy at the graveyard, and Angel actually says something intelligent. He's like, I'm 245 years old. We can't have a relationship. And I'm like, thank you! Okay, so there's a point where Xander's like, oh, I'm going to go to the frat party to like protect Buffy. And Willow's like, oh, so that she can see you as one of that you're like on their level and all this. And maybe catch an orgy. And he's like, well, if it's on early.
Because it's Xander.
It's Xander.
He doesn't have priorities here.
Of course not. I love how, okay, so Willow at one point is like looking at Angel's non-reflection in the pane of glass. And she's like, how do you shave? Which is a legitimate question.
Yeah, it's true. But oh man, with being along in that scene there, Willow breaking and telling the truth about all the things. And again, all the things. Just the fact that, yes, Buffy's there now, hanging out with all the frat boys, but Giles, you're pushing her too hard, and Angel, you're being weird with all the relationship. Why can't things work out properly?
Yeah, my only note just says Willow gets yelly.
But I'm just going to have to say, I kind of understand why Willow is the best character in these early seasons for you there, Paul.
Willow is my favorite character throughout the series.
Just in this one a little bit, it's like, I can kind of understand it. I'll be interested to see how things kind of evolve from here.
Yes. It's going to be good. So we find out that they're going to be offered to this snake demon thingy called Makita.
Yes.
Which there's a great story behind that name.
Okay.
The writer for this, I believe it was David Greenwalt, who was also like a producer on the show.
Okay.
He thought he'd come up with the greatest name for a demon ever, and then he went into work the next day, and he realized that he just saw it on the drills that some of the guys, that the stagehands had been using to put up sets. And he's like, God damn it.
Name's taken.
So Buffy chops up Makita, and then Giles says, I promise not to push you so hard, just an inordinate amount of nudging.
Yeah.
And then at the Bronze, we see Jonathan again.
Yes.
In another near-death experience, dating Cordelia.
Oh, that is a near-death experience.
I wasn't sure if that was the same guy. I thought it was. I just thought it was the same case of, Cordelia found another guy to date.
Yes. Oh, okay. So Xander, while near the end of the episode, is like, does every conversation we have to come around to that freak? Oh, hey, man.
No, that definitely was a good scene. Just the relationship that Xander and Angel kind of have of, they both really don't like each other, but since they're within the friend group, they kind of need to keep the group
they have to be civil, but they both hate each other. Yeah, it's great.
They're frenemies.
Exactly.
I had a great time with parts of this episode.
No, most everything with this episode is decent. I think the only one other thing that was interesting was when Giles, Willow, Xander, and Angel zip in to help out Buffy. Just the last scene of Willie being like, guys, Buffy, basement, snake, now!
Yeah, it's pretty great. So, what did you think of the episode overall, Dave?
I'll have to kind of agree with Justin that it was a bit of a filler episode. It wasn't anything super bad. I could tolerate that sort of stuff, but yeah, Frat Boys episodes are kind of red flag for there's not really going to be much going on in this.
We're going to have a few more.
I wouldn't be too surprised. Aside from that, everyone's sort of teamwork with everything sort of was good. The intentions of Xander were okay, but I kind of understand the other little bits, as well as felt bad for him getting caught up in all the pledge nonsense. And not just on the whole everything with Willow within this episode was decent. And I'm looking forward to seeing any sort of Willow interaction where she kind of takes a bit more charge. It would be nice to see. But now on the whole, scale-wise, I think it's probably just going to be sitting around 7 or so. It's not hitting super high. Again, I'd say 6, but it does enough to make it a little bit better for me, but still not exactly high range of things.
Okay. Justin?
I give this episode a 5 out of 10.
Okay. Why?
Not as bad as the hyena episode, but not terribly great or interesting, at least from my perspective. It had some moments, that's why it doesn't go any lower than that.
It has some good jokes.
Yeah.
It does. And maybe catch an orgy. Well, if it's on early. Xander and Willow, anytime they're on screen, that's great. So I'm pretty much in line with Justin. This is like a 5 out of 10.
No.
I'm not a huge fan of this episode. There's a couple of fun moments, but it's nothing special.
Right.
And the show is going to get much better, especially doing these type of episodes later.
Right, yo.
We might even get another snake demon at some point.
Oh boy.
But no more praying mantises.
No more praying mantises.
Gotcha.
All right, so let's talk about the music in this episode. So there's 2 songs. The first one is by a band called Louis Says. It's a song called She, and that plays when Buffy and Tom have their slow dance at the party, and later at the Bronze when Angel asks Buffy out for a cup of coffee.
Ah, yeah.
And then there's another one by a band called Act of Faith, which the song is called Bring Me On, and that plays when the frat brothers force Xander to dance as punishment for crashing the party.
Yeah.
All right, so international titles.
Oh boy.
So Finnish translates back to Lizard Man.
Okay.
Alright.
French, Devotion. German,
No.
The Secret Society.
Yeah.
Brazilian Portuguese is just Reptile Boy. Latin American Spanish is the Snake Demon. And like Spain Spanish is the Reptile.
Okay.
So there's nothing terribly great.
I suppose. I think the only one other comment within the episode was Buffy actually says the title line within it, seeing the snake demon and whatnot. It's like, oh man, title drop!
They said the name of the title of the episode. Gasp.
Alrighty, so do either of you have anything to add for this episode?
I think aside from a typical nothing really all that much.
Justin?
I'm glad that episode is over with then. It wasn't painful, it was just not great.
Yeah.
Well, you're in luck, because next time we're talking about Halloween.
That's always a fun time.
Someone throw in the song from The Nightmare Before Christmas.
In this episode, it's Halloween. Buffy and her friends patronize an unusual costume shop where customers turn into whatever costume they're wearing.
Fun times.
It's going to be good. Good. And a character from Giles' past will emerge.
Alrighties.
So that'll be next week. I'm Paul.
I'm Dave.
I'm Justin.